Welcome to OOO, an out of ordinary podcast where we dig deep into case studies and the nitty gritty of Web3 marketing. You'll find here all the amazing people that are building Web3, so stick to us as we address their marketing secrets and learn how to build amazing products and brands. Hello everyone, I'm Alex, a fellow Web3 marketer and the host of an Out of Ordinary podcast. This is episode 51. Can you believe this? My goal, to make this podcast your go-to place when it comes to answering anything Web3 marketing related. As always, I want to let you know that you can now support the show both on Patreon and Unisub with donations in fiat or crypto. You can donate as little as $5 a month and still have a huge impact. And you know what? If you can't donate, that's totally fine. Send this podcast to a friend, leave a 5-star review, or post about it on social media. Every action matters. Now, let me introduce you to my guest. Amy is a Web3 native marketer who's been helping brands in the space since 2020, supporting a diversity of projects like Radix DLT and WalletConnect in developing and nurturing their growth. From building audiences to over 40,000 plus for a keynote event to onboarding 100,000 plus users onto new products within the first month of launch, Amy has worked on an extensive range of strategies, initiatives, and campaigns that encapsulate the need for Web3-oriented marketing. Hi, Amy. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for being with me today. I'm so excited to be having this conversation. I think it's much needed. But before to kind of kick it off, I want to ask you if you can maybe introduce yourself and tell us how you got into Web3.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm Amy. I'm currently with WalletConnect as Growth Marketing Manager. I joined Web3. It's actually, I feel like everyone I meet has their own like really interesting story. Mine's not so interesting, but it's definitely unique and just feels like I kind of accidentally but perfectly stumbled into the industry. So I joined in March 2020, which, if anyone remembers, it was pretty much the week that the World Health Organization announced a pandemic and all the markets absolutely tanked. I think I was on my 5th day or something. I honestly, at that point, I don't think I could have told you the difference between like Bitcoin and blockchain. It was pretty poor. I'd come from fintech. I was doing some really low level commissioned work, and I was just helping a very kind of early stage project. But one of the pieces I was doing was like social listening and working on their Twitter account. And I remember like my 5th day and the markets tanked. And I just remember sitting there looking on crypto Twitter like, wow, I am way out my depth. I have no idea what to do here. And then I guess over the weeks that came, obviously, you know, we were all kind of stuck at home for months. And I just had a really great opportunity to have a really fast onboarding process that was very crazy and kind of thrown in at the deep end. And I ended up working with that project for just under 2 years, which was really my entry point into Web3 and my first taster of, I guess, decentralization and everything philosophically that like Web3 and crypto kind of stands for. But the project that I joined was, it was CeFi at the time that leveraged DeFi to offer like high APY to kind of traditional financial consumers. So it was a really cool SaaS product, a really cool app that kind of took away the difficulty of onboarding. Of course, over the years that we've progressed and evolved as an industry, CeFi has taken a new shape and kind of a new position within the ecosystem. And I found, I guess after almost two years working at that project, I kind of found my own position within the industry to evolve similarly. And I realized that I absolutely loved kind of everything that Web3 stood for. And I didn't kind of like sitting on the fence and being at the sidelines. So I looked for a new project to work with, and I ended up working with an app called Mode for around a year as well, which was kind of similar to Lolly in the US, but UK based. So a Bitcoin cashback product, which was super cool again, a whole new audience and experience for me. And then over the years, I've just kind of, I guess, stepped each time kind of deeper and deeper into the space. I then moved to a layer one called Radix. And then mid last year, I moved to WalletConnect, and I've been there ever since. So yeah, that's pretty much my story.
Quite a journey, right?
Yeah, enjoyable, but yeah, for 4 years next month, which is,
Oh my God.
feels longer.
Have you worked with Ariane Murphy from, she was at Forcefield before?
Yeah, I have. Ariane was my CMO at Mode.
Oh my God, such a small world.
Yeah, super small. I actually caught up with her like 2-3 days ago. I think she's just joined Flight 3.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter the other day. So excited for her.
Yeah.
We said that actually the episode I did with her last year was one of my what was the most popular episode I've had on the podcast. So she said like, okay,
Oh,
maybe we
wow.
can do another one this year now that she's back from I was about to say holidays, but from giving birth. So
Yes. Yeah.
I'm excited. Anyway, kind of going back to our discussion, you've been at WalletConnect for less than a year, if I understand correctly. How's this experience been for you, especially during this bear market?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think the bear for me this time has been interesting. It's my second cycle. I think one thing to note for me is that my previous cycle, of course, I was like super new to the industry, and I was very, very, very deeply kind of living and working in, I guess, like money, crypto, DeFi. It was also, it had been DeFi summer within that same year. So my experience there was very much on the like financial front, and I was very much kind of living within that echo chamber, I guess. And this time around, I guess pretty much since everything that happened with SBF, I have been working predominantly marketing within like the developer space within Web3, both at Radix and WalletConnect. So I've had a very, very different experience this bear market. It's been very much less connected to the financial ups and downs of the market specifically. Of course, everyone has taken a hit. Projects have taken a hit. Investments are not the same as they have been when we've been in a bull. But you see, when you're working specifically directly with builders, you see there's a lot of strength that continues and a lot that kind of remains unimpacted. I think over the course of the last year, there's been like tremendous growth across different projects, different kind of verticals and different niches within Web3, where you've seen a lot of projects have kind of scaled and new projects have emerged. You've seen like across NFTs, there's been a lot of evolution and growth and maturity. I think Web3 social has grown tremendously as well. You see Farcaster over the last couple of weeks. And yeah, I think the bear market for me this time compared to the previous one, working specifically within the realm of where things are being built, it's been pretty inspiring. I think to actually have the impact that we've had in the last couple of years and have the hits that we've taken and see progression just continue and see people continue to build and see things still come to market and see products still evolve and new users and new use cases come out of the market. I think it's been interesting. It's been difficult, but it's been inspiring for like the longevity, I think, of the industry.
Do you feel like all these projects that are building right now, or like all these people that are building this project, do you feel like they have like a strong? Do you feel like they're building strong projects? I feel like I'm asking this because I feel like everybody's like so undecided in regards to like where the market is going right now, and even forecast. Everybody's like, oh my God, this is the new hype, we need to jump on it. But then some people are like, oh my God, no, I think it's going to die in 6 months, like Clubhouse did.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and this is a point that I think we'll dive into later as well. I think when we talk about the market as a whole, and in some ways it will always be a whole market, but in terms of like who we're marketing to and our demographics and our audience bases, I think we confuse things quite a lot in terms of like, the future and the growth and the scale of Web3 and us reaching the next 1 billion. That's a very different market to a lot of the projects that are being built right now. I think there's a market for builders, and I think Farcaster really, really speaks to that market right now. It's great for us if you have a project like WalletConnect where your consumer base is builders. You can go into Farcaster and you have a much smaller audience than you will have on Twitter, but it's a much more refined and fine-tuned audience where, you can put out a post and like there's a lot of people are talking about this when they have a B2B product in Web3. They're getting a lot lower volume in terms of like impressions, but they're getting a lot higher outcomes when they post like a Luma link for an event and so on. So I think and maybe this in the long run, maybe this is what needed to happen, and maybe we will continue going in this way of kind of splitting the market into. But I think that there is a builders market where we have a lot of products coming out. But I don't know long term if they will last forever, but they definitely have utility. They definitely have a really strong use case for the audience that's using them. Whether they will break into the wider market, and actually, I guess to be able to do that, the actual physical offering and product would need to evolve as well, right? You get Farcaster frames. To actually use that today, you need to have some level of technical understanding. You can't just be a marketer from like a Web2, like a poodle grooming shop and just use Farcaster frames. You need to have some like technical understanding. So whether we can actually break into the wider market with the products that are scaling during the bear run with like the builder market and the more condensed Web3 market, I don't know. But I do think at the same time, there are also a lot of projects, Zora, Lens, that do have also a lot of utility and a lot of promise to break into that wider market. And I think during this bear market, this bear cycle, one of the like prominent messages and I guess thoughts that people have is that, we're not going to break in to the wider market. We're not going to onboard the next 1 billion until Web3 doesn't feel like Web3 anymore, until they don't actually know the difference between what they're using. And I think that we've made massive strides coming towards that by just kind of moving away from just money crypto. Maybe in a way, SBF kind of helped with that. Probably too soon to say. But I think the diversity of products on offer, whether they will be the products that can break into the wider market or not, I don't know. But I think the diversity of them just existing shows the ability for them to exist on the wider market, and actually that there are more use cases and there is more utility than, for me, still today, I will go out, and I live in a small town in the north of the UK. So there's not a massive like Web3 community here. And pretty much most of the people that I would go and talk to, if I talked about crypto or Web3, they will ask me about tokens. They will ask me what tokens I hold. They will ask me about some random like token that they've been shilled or they've heard of somewhere, like with a big red flag. And that's still kind of their level of understanding. They won't know anything about consumer crypto in terms of like a diversity of products. NFTs to them are still like, oh, these random JPEGs that why would anyone, didn't they die already? And like the diversity of use cases, even just within like what an NFT is just completely unknown. So I think these projects that have emerged in the bear market, whether those projects standalone as they are will be the thing to break out, I'm not sure. But I think that they've been huge in terms of us being able to actually get there and breaking out.
I think like what you just mentioned, I think it opens the door to like the rest of the conversation, let's say. So like one of the first things I want to ask you is that you guys at WalletConnect provide tools for developers to create secure and interactive experiences. Can you maybe share some examples of success stories of projects that have of applications that I have been using WalletConnect and that maybe showcases its capabilities?
100%. I mean, I guess with WalletConnect, there's two key pieces, right? So there's the WalletConnect protocol, which is the piece that has been here from the start, which Pedro, our founder, founded kind of initially in the first place, and connects apps and wallets across Web3. It's a super simple concept that prior to WalletConnect, prior to Pedro pretty much inventing this, the ability to make that happen, we had a lot of friction in Web3 when trying to connect wallets and apps. So today, the WalletConnect protocol, just in and of itself, connects like millions of wallets every single month in Web3. We have about 3,000 apps, just over 3,000 apps that use WalletConnect. That use the Web3 modal SDK, and we have thousands and thousands of apps that just actually connect through the WalletConnect protocol. And then again, we have hundreds of wallets. We have hundreds of wallets using the Web3 Wallet SDK. And then at the same time, we have like thousands, tens of thousands of users every single month that actually are using their own wallet and connecting to an app. So I think even though it's humble in its existence, just the WalletConnect protocol itself is just made this like massive impact from day one in how it connects Web3, and we will be decentralizing the network over the next couple of years as well, which there's a really interesting kind of deep dive on that on our website. But that's something that's pretty humble in how it is, but it's just fundamental and has just significantly changed how Web3 functions and works and the UX of Web3. At the same time, we have our SDKs. So we have the WalletConnect protocol, we have the Web3 inbox, the Web3 modal, and the Web3 wallet SDKs, which basically, in a nutshell, provide APIs and the tools for builders in Web3, whether they're building a wallet or an app, to just connect and build better like tools, better projects in Web3 and help their users connect across the space. So one of our SDKs, the Web3 Inbox SDK, which we actually launched in December, and we launched the Web3 Inbox app in January. So it's super fresh, super new to the space. We ran a campaign for that last month, which was it was really great. It was, I think the biggest thing to come from it for me was just seeing the need for something like this in the space. So the Web3 Inbox SDK basically enables apps to send human readable messages to wallets within Web3. So traditionally, you think of like a DAO. When a DAO has a new proposal, they have to go to like Telegram or Twitter to, announce the proposal to their community and enable people to vote. There's no simple way in Web3 for an app to communicate with their consumers or with their community today. So what Web3 Inbox, the SDK, does is enable apps to actually do that. So they can communicate with their users across 3 platforms, one being their own application. So in December, you saw PancakeSwap launched with Web3 Inbox. They were our first partner to launch, and they actually launched in-app notifications on the PancakeSwap website. So instantly, users who connect their wallet on PancakeSwap can actually start receiving notifications on the PancakeSwap platform. But again, it's a great use case. It's a great utility, but it's a lot to expect from consumers to actually sit on a website or a platform 24/7, waiting to hear back from an app that they use, particularly if they're going to be using like 10 apps a day or whatever. So what the SDK also provides or also offers is wallet connection as well. So within our Web3 Wallet SDK, we have the Notify API, where wallets can integrate the Notify API and enable apps to send messages to wallet users directly within the wallet app. So that also enables users to receive push notifications directly to their wallet on their phone or on their desktop, however they choose. The other piece that we have is the Web3 inbox app, which is the piece that we launched in January. And that essentially has the same utility as the Notify API in the Web3 Wallet SDK today. And we launched the Web3 Inbox app in January with, I think, with 16 partners. So we had PancakeSwap, Snapshot, we had Guild, some really, really cool partners. And again, the thing I love, all with massively different, diverse use cases that we launched with in January. And what the Web3 Inbox app also does is it pretty much enables you today to go and connect your wallet to the Web3 Inbox app. You set up notifications, and that's it. You just subscribe to any apps within the app that you would like to receive notifications from, and you just get your notifications. So you can hear from those apps anytime you choose, anytime you wish. You can select what kind of notifications you want to hear about as well. So the difference between, I guess, marketing updates versus actually really important updates that you need to hear about your wallet. So, for example, with PancakeSwap, you might want to hear about new tokens that are on offer. You might not want to hear about that, and you might only want to hear about liquidation positions, staking positions. You can actually set the preferences there and decide which basically be the driver of your own experience as a user. And the thing that was really great when we launched in January is that we had a little like activation around it, which was super exciting. We had like a commemorative NFT that we launched the project with, because again, this is just a massive milestone for us. And I think in 10 days, we had over 100,000 wallets that connected to the app and had subscribed to the apps that we had available within the app. So within a couple of days, between notifications from PancakeSwap and Snapshot and Guild and so on, there was millions of messages being sent through the server. So we had hundreds of thousands, over 100,000 users instantly getting updates from the apps that they use every day in Web3 without having to dip back into Web2 tools to actually connect with the apps that they use. So it was kind of like the second that we flicked that switch, all of a sudden, the issue of leaning on Web2 for that kind of human connection was just like eradicated for those apps and those consumers. So it felt really good to see that happen. And again, the numbers were huge. The numbers were amazing. We were really happy to see how that scaled so quickly, and just see also for our partners this massive like change in how they can communicate just from one day to the next. So that was a pretty exciting one, and I think that was a really good example, a really good reminder of like, this is why we're here, this is why we're building what we're building, and a really nice kind of refreshment of like, this is why we continue and keep going.
All right, let's take a quick break and introduce you to a game changer in the lead generation arena, Dealfront. Now, we all know the struggle of identifying those elusive website visitors and turning them into valuable leads. But what if I told you there's a tool that not only promises but delivers on supercharging your lead generation and sales efforts? Imagine having the power to identify companies visiting your website, track their behavior in real time, and seamlessly integrate it all with your CRM. Dealfront is not just a tool, it's your secret weapon for efficient and targeted lead engagement. So what sets it apart? Its revenue engine is fueled by live European data in multiple languages, providing you with insights and access that other tools simply can't match. No more struggling to find the right decision makers. With Dealfront, it's as easy as a few clicks. Here's the magic. With Dealfront, you can harness 3 layers of data: market signals, web visitors, and EU company databases. And there's no need to worry about compliance. Dealfront meets Europe's strict standards, ensuring GDPR compliance competitors simply can't match. Ready to revolutionize your approach to leads and deals? Grab your free demo today at dealfront.com. That's DEALFRONT.com. Don't miss out on the future of successful deal making with Dealfront. Makes sense. Actually, I wanted to ask you more about the campaign like a bit later on, but I think you touched on a bunch of points, and I also like the fact that you spoke about like a lot of product features that you have introduced, which I think is super cool, and it connects very well with what I want to ask you next. Like, what are some initiatives or campaigns that you felt were impactful in increasing user engagement and adoption? Because like a product, of course, like does a bunch of can do a lot of stuff, but like from the marketing side of things, like what are some stuff that like kind of drew your attention?
100%. I mean, there's definitely sexier answers than my first piece, but one thing I just find so important, again, I think something that we struggle with in Web3 a little bit is probably the least sexy thing of all, also because it's one of the least rewarding for a marketer, is nailing your product positioning, nailing the messaging, actually understanding who your audience is, and really just positioning what your product is. I think there's a really, really important piece to be said for just positioning the product as it is, and removing, I think something that we do quite a lot is we focus specifically in Web3, again, I think because we're still in like a level of infancy and we're growing and we have come from very technological roots. I think something we do quite a lot in this industry is we focus on like the feature set, and we focus on what's available in the product, and we say like, here's a pen, it's the color gray and it writes, and you can hold it. We don't ever really talk and I think this is changing quite a bit in the space, but we often miss the value, like the emotional value of the thing that we're offering in that product. And that's something that has existed in Web 2 for a while. I think Steve Jobs with the iPod, 1,000 songs in your pocket, really changed a lot for like advertisement and copy, and just kind of like revolutionized positioning something like a piece of technology, a piece of hardware in Web 2 in that way. And I think that's something that we often miss in Web 3. And the reason I talk about this, I talk about it all the time. I will never forget in like, I think it must have been 2020. So we were in a different cycle. We weren't so young, but we were certainly in a very different cycle to what we're in today. And I'll never forget J.K. Rowling she like posted a tweet saying, can someone explain Bitcoin to me, or something like that. It was like, can someone what is Bitcoin? I don't understand it. And it picked up a lot of traction in the industry, in the space. And I just remember waking up at like 7, 8 a.m. It was a different time zone, I think, and reading through all of these comments of people explaining Bitcoin to J.K. Rowling. And it was tragic. It was terrible. Some people nailed it a bit, but to me, like to someone that kind of has a level of understanding, I think the best answers were the ones that managed to encapsulate something within one paragraph. Everyone else just went way too deep. And it was an absolute shambles. And I remember reading it and thinking, wow, we have a lot of work to do. And I think one analogy I like to think of a lot is like the light switch in your room, right? I don't need to know how the light switch works or connects in my house. I don't need to know how it's wired up behind the walls to just actually buy a light switch and say, yeah, I need to switch my lights on. I just know that it needs to help me switch my lights on. And that's it. And I think this again comes down to how we're like separating, or maybe how we're evolving into having kind of two different verticals in Web3 for like consumer crypto. But there's just so much about what we do today that we really miss. when we're positioning things. And I think that is key. I think that's really, really key for like I guess a developer first industry that we have come from, and we're still in, and we still will have a lot of elements of that for however long, for the foreseeable. But we just really need to start thinking of the consumer and actually building projects or taking projects to market in a way that has been tried and tested. Like, there's a reason. I know there's a lot of elements of Web 2 and traditional everything that we don't necessarily want to bring into Web 3, but we don't need to reinvent the wheel either. There's a lot of tried and tested methods of marketing and engaging audiences that we should really be taking a leaf out of that book.
I mean, I definitely do have a lot of opinions about it, like, honestly, mostly because I think like Web3 is generally an industry where everything is so complicatedly explained, and the usage, like the way you interact with a lot of like apps or platforms or wallets, it's so complicated. And I think like for the majority of people, even for us, like us being in the industry, I think it's even hard for us. And on the marketing side of things, a lot of people are telling me that like, oh, Web3 marketing is so different. But I feel like the more I dig into it, the more I feel like it is exactly the same, with very few differences though. But I feel like sometimes I feel like many companies are not really they're not really into the steady mode and building something long term. I think many times are just they're money grabbers somehow, and they're looking to like blow a project, make a lot of money off it, and leave. Unfortunately, I think at least that's my opinion about the state of the industry right now. Obviously, it doesn't apply to everybody, but yeah, I think this can be like a discussion for hours. It's a never-ending thing, I would guess. And I don't know if you feel the same, but
yeah, I do. I mean, I think, and maybe I just have rose-tinted glasses on. Maybe I'm like way too hopeful. I definitely feel that way. I think anyone who's been in the space long enough has been burnt at least once, either just on a personal level or, working with or for projects that, haven't had the right, even if it's if it's not a rug pull, it's you do come across projects that have, to a degree, have the right intentions. They're not doing anything wrong. They are creating a legitimate project that they want to exist and they want to succeed, but they are potentially, doing it with the wrong, I guess, maybe they don't have the right intentions, not doing it with the wrong intentions, but they are they're not building it for the longevity of the industry and the market and the ecosystem. And I do agree, and I have experienced that myself, where even just kind of under the hood, there's been such a breakdown of like internal communication or an apathetic approach to building, because there isn't that drive or inspiration or passion to really like make this thing succeed, to actually help contribute to the scaling of this industry and the success of this industry and the success of this space. I think the projects that you see that really hold the core values of Web3, you often see builders and marketers, like anyone within those organizations, really have such a drive and passion to make that project work. And in line with that, you see them really have a drive and passion to make their, consumer experience really great. And it comes part and parcel with the reason that project exists and the reason that project was, created. But I do think that's just an element of a young and scaling industry, and I think that is something that we have already seen drop off significantly. We've seen a lot of projects, particularly in this last bear. I think we've seen a lot of projects drop off that maybe weren't in it for the right reasons. And that's where, again, I think these kind of more humble projects that aren't necessarily, those behind it don't have a quick win. They have relentless nights of hard work and they're not getting much back out of it. And they've been building for 1 to 2 years and they're just starting to see traction now. I think those are the ones that, again, I don't know if they will be the foreground for the future of Web3, but I think they are the ones that at least give me a bit more hope as well that, we have evolved and we are maturing. And there will always be those projects in the space that kind of dampen your hopes a bit and also give us a bad rep or not as good of a rep. But I think we'll see less and less of them.
Well, hopefully through these episodes, they're going to learn a thing or two about like doing things the right way. So kind of moving forward with this. And I think like the rest of the questions are kind of regarding that and giving them the best examples or tools to be able to like make it the right way, let's say. So one of the first things I want to ask you is regarding interoperability. Oh my god, like this coffee is really kicking in right now. So how do you see, first of all, like cross-platform connectivity evolving? Because I think this is super important, exactly what we were talking before, that even for us it's very hard sometimes to use Web3 or like Web3 tools. So how do you see this evolving moving forward, especially right now that maybe there are going to be like a lot more funds to fund projects that are actually there that are building for the right reasons?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's so many layers to this, right? This is like interoperability is where we are still super young, and I think we're still learning a lot, and we're still. I think there's still a lot of testing going and trialing going on in the space. I mean, Forecaster Frames again for one, like that was launched 3 weeks ago, and it felt like one of the first. It felt like one of the. I can't remember the last time something so like fresh and new that captivated like the Web3 builder audience came out into the market. It felt really, really like a new experience because it's just been so long since something like that came into the market that everyone was kind of like you had hackathons all over the world building Forecaster Frames. So I think, and that in and of itself obviously provided a lot of promise for interoperability. Like I think within the first day, you saw frames being built where you could mint NFTs directly within your social feed. Like that's super cool. And again, I'd say on the consumer front, it's simple. It's like a super simple thing to do. The difficulty of Web3 and like the difficulty of onboarding, the difficulty of like, sometimes having to read the docs as a consumer to actually understand how to do something, that was removed in this ability to mint. And I think there was, and I guess it's probably cooler, crossover of Web 2 to Web 3, but there was frames being built to like get Girl Scout cookies delivered to your door. I think someone built a frame to get pizza delivered to your door. There was frames being built, I think, for like Luma, and just a lot of different use cases, which, considering how instrumental social media platforms, whether you like it or not, are in our daily lives now, both for Web3 folk and not for, that's a really cool and really promising thing to see. And I think more stuff like that, where interoperability is just part of the product and the issues and the difficulty for users to onboard and actually have that crossover of platform is removed. I think we will see, again, and maybe it's hopefully similar to the whole idea of, we won't break into the market until people don't know that they're using Web3. It could be kind of a super similar or aligned thing with that. But I think the more things like frames that we see coming into the space, the more gradually we will start to see simpler interoperability and simpler connection between the wider ecosystem as well. And talking about kind of being in this testing era with cross-platform, I guess I can't speak too much to it, but we're doing something ourselves over the next couple of weeks in Denver. A really exciting activation, or exciting to me, I'm excited about it, with Web3 Inbox, where we're actually going to be working with one of our partners on Web3 Inbox and working with a partner for an IRL summit, where there's actually that crossover between the utility of Web3 Inbox and then the use case at a summit, the need to connect with a Web3 audience, IRL, at an event, and also this partner that we have and the use case that they provide with their offering and their tooling, and an actual activation and campaign and end user like element to the entire day that's built on the foundations of Web3 Inbox and the partnership with that, with our partner project, which is something that I don't think it's really been done before. And the way that the three pieces have connected together, Web3 Inbox, our partner, and our IRL partner who's running the summit, it just has kind of brought together this perfect, like harmonious Web3 element to a conference, which you otherwise don't typically get. Again, like conferences, when you have a speaker coming on in whatever room, in 15 minutes, you'll put it on Twitter, right? And we're removing that. So we're seeing like the, I guess, interoperability with IRL events as well. At the same time, with having these two, and I can't speak too much to it, but having these two projects, Web3 Inbox and the other digital experience crossing over all at once and just creating this like experience that is completely Web3 native in real life. And it's just simple. It's just really easy to do on the consumer side. And even on the back end side, like there's a piece, I guess I can't speak too much to it. Oh, actually I can. I guess on the Web3 Inbox app piece, and this is something I've done recently, a couple of days ago as well. We have a WalletConnect cloud, which is like the developer hub for any developers that use WalletConnect tools or services. And for Web3 Inbox, we have a tool in the cloud where you can just, if you have an app that's on the web that uses the Web3 Inbox SDK or is listed in the Web3 Inbox app, there's a tool within the WalletConnect cloud where you can just send a notification to your audience, and it's really as simple as sending a tweet. And I don't have any like dev experience, and I wouldn't trust myself sending a notification that's irreversible to 130,000 people if there was any requirement for me to do something that's a little bit out of my comfort zone. But the way that we've set up, the way that our engineers have set up the Web3 Inbox tooling in the cloud, I could just go and type my notification the way I would a tweet. I have a H1, a header, I have a subheader or like the body text, and I have a link, and I just click send. And it's Web3 native. It's going to wallets. And I think that that's a really great piece of Web3 Inbox because, again, we built the product for developers, but I'm not a developer. I'm a marketer. And I've sent a few notifications now to like 140,000 people as easy as I would have writing a tweet. So we have that at this IRL event that we're doing in Denver, where we've actually alleviated the need. I'm not sure that we would have been able to do what we're doing with this campaign, with this activation, if there was more like in-depth requirements on the developer front for our partners. But because it's so simple to do, we have this whole like existence, this whole immersive experience of Web3 in real life at an event. So I think, again, maybe it's coming from the bear market and just having more time to build, and builders doing more stuff that's really focused on diversity of applications and use cases, that I do think that we'll start to see more seamless and sensical and just easy to use interoperability across platforms.
I hope you're enjoying this chat, so follow us in part 2 for more examples and case studies.